All right. So it looks like we have a pretty even spread of guesses from 23 to 38. We have a cluster of guesses at 32, probably because it's in the middle, so everyone's kind of guessing in the middle as a safe zone. And 29. Very good guesses. Thank you for participating.
Oh, you're not talking, huh?
Oh. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm not telling. So anyone else want to give it a stab here while we have a chance? Now that you guys are practiced, for the people who haven't participated in future polls, you can help your fellow students. So,
what's the right answer?
the correct answer is all of them. Behind what? Oh, they told me that.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So we're still fine.
All right. Okay. Just for your information, this entire session is going to be taped and then webcast and podcast. So we will provide the links later once I am able to do it. So you can always go back to this moment in time and remember how much fun you've had trying to understand this thing called social media. Okay, so.
You want to introduce me so I can introduce you?
How about we just keep doing introductions back and forth, back and forth.
Works for me. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Well, I want to welcome you to the pre-summit session. And I'm Candy Wallace. I'm the Executive Director of the American Personal and Private Chef Association in San Diego. And I'm very pleased to have been invited back to MC the FENI Summit again this year. So I want to thank all of you for coming. I noticed that I met some folks from South Africa who traveled 29 hours to be here. And are you the folks from Puerto Rico? Welcome. It's wonderful to see you all. See, I said I shouldn't complain about flying across the country just to be here. So thanks so much for being here. When this session was introduced, FENI received an overwhelming response from all of the educators who wanted to attend this pre-summit special session. I think the title was so truly intriguing. The World is Connected, and Culinary Educator's Guide for Emerging Technology and New Media. I mean, it's so clear now, after having watched the news for the past week with what happened in Egypt and how social media has impacted actually the overthrow of a government. So it's wonderful for all of you who are here, who want to be able to participate with confidence. And on that note, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Wang. Nye has spent his entire adult life incorporating technology in education. With the creation of the Sous Chef, the world's first interactive teaching resource for culinary arts, he actually brought culinary arts into the digital forefront. He created KP education systems to bring his cyber dreams into reality. He spends his waking hours in front of a computer, absorbing the internet and looking for ways to improve learning and teaching. And in his rare downtime, he's an avid video gamer who also volunteers for 2 arts education nonprofit organizations. He serves on the board of directors and as president in one, and he devotes his time to bring technology into the nonprofit sector. You are a busy man. Nye's always been a firm believer in technology being a great tool for educating students, and he will actively push others towards that. As Nye says, technology is key to our students' success. He's also, before the end of the session, going to mention the contest that he's devised for the most tweets at this year's FENI conference, and we'll be announcing the winner Sunday night at the awards reception. So, without any more ado, I'd like to have you join me in welcoming Nye Wang for today's presentation. Thanks, Nye.
All right, so can everyone hear me fine with the microphone sitting right here? Do I need to move this higher or lower? Hello, hello? Is this better? No, that's not good. Okay, thank you very much for that fabulous introduction. Yes, I do sleep sometimes, and I do quite a bit of things. But that's what keeps me out of trouble. What we're going to be taking you through in this wonderful 2-hour workshop. And when you think 2 hours, you're like, oh my gosh, 2 hours. Like, you can't sit through 2 hours. But we're going to make this really fun and entertaining because there's a lot of information that I'm going to throw out at you. And one of the key things I want you to keep in mind is that if you have any questions, look for a young person like me or him to explain it to you. Because they're a wealth of information and they'd be happy to show it to you. So with that, I'm going to move forward to our social network and education. Oh, I'm getting really fuzzy here. Maybe I'm giving some feedback. Anyway, this is a multimedia exploration of technology. So first, with that introduction, which was a fabulous introduction, this was one of my most embarrassing moments at the National ACTE Conference in 2009 in Nashville, where I got up in front of about 4,000 people, and everyone laughed at me. And you'll see why here in just a second. Yeah, I wonder what's doing that.
Watching this morning's speaker, whom I know you're going to enjoy. Indulge me for just a minute, please. Welcome the founder and president of KP Education Systems, Wang.
KP, Knowledge in Practice. I am Wang, founder and president of KP Education Systems, and I have devoted my entire adult life to the pursuit of furthering my entire adult and childhood, I guess, to the pursuit of furthering education through technology. KP is proud to sponsor Chef Jeff Henderson. We share in his personal passion to fight for what is right, to provide opportunity for all through knowledge and practice. KP is dedicated to that. Thank you, Chef Jeff, for being an inspiration to us. More importantly, I would like to thank you, the devoted CTE educators. Without people like you, reaching people like me, the ones who didn't perfectly fit the academic model, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you today. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, Ed, and the ACT Association. And then I walked the wrong way, and then So, I've turned the microphone off. Can everyone hear me fine still? Okay. Well, then we'll go a cappella style. So, as you can see, I was very nervous during that exposition. I've never stood in front of that many people before. And it was a wonderful experience, I do have to say. So, I wanted to start out with a little bit about me, so you could have a good understanding of kind of where I came from. As you heard in the introduction, I'm not your typical student. I wasn't the academic track student. I really wasn't part of that. First thing I want to mention is that I was made in Taiwan. So I'm an export, and I wasn't expert here until I ripened at the age of 2. Next up, English was my second language. You can tell Chinese was my first. I had that horrible Chinese accent, right? I had to take 2 years of speech class to be able to speak the way I do today, which I think is pretty good, right? I'm an introvert, or at least I was an introvert. Back in the high school time, I kept myself. I was very, shy. I also, if my family were well enough, I would have been diagnosed with ADHD. But we grew up in a poor Chinese restaurant, so I actually was in the restaurant from here all the way up to basically when I graduated college, and I had no choice in the matter. So I worked in the restaurant, and because of that, we didn't have the means to be able to take me to a psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever to determine that I have ADHD. So with that, this presentation is ADHD extreme, because this is the way that I kind of learn, and you'll see how that's going to be displayed. Now, believe me, you can follow along. I am a computer nerd, so one of the things I gravitated toward because I was an introvert was that with computers. I really love computers. I love the capabilities of computers, and way back then there was such they were so new that nobody knew what to do with them, so I was just playing around with them for the hell of it. And one of the last things is I was functionally illiterate. I went through all of high school without reading a single novel. I couldn't comprehend novels. For some reason, if I were to try to read a novel, I read a chapter, then I wouldn't really remember the information from that chapter. And so the way I was able to survive was to be attentive and to listen to lecture and try to get as much help as possible. So I had that learning challenge. So because of that, I was a teacher's nightmare, because a lot of times, even though I was paying attention, I would be daydreaming, drifting off to some other land, thinking about something else. Because some of the classes, maybe not all of them, but some of them, they couldn't hold my attention. So was I a bad student? We all know that answer. So next, we're going to bring my co-presenter, Jonathan Major, up here.
Hello, everyone. All right, I hope you can all hear me. I'm Jonathan, and I also I don't have quite as a diverse background as Nye, and I definitely wasn't made in Taiwan. But I have been all over the world doing various things, and I had a very alternative education as well. I definitely didn't fit the academic mold. You want to click through a couple of these? Basically, a few examples. I was a bit of a troublemaker when I was young. I didn't have the ADHD portion, but I did have a problem with authority. So I got into a lot of troubles with my teachers, and I was shipped off to a wilderness school. I went to a military school. Don't worry, I'm not going to steal anybody's stuff or anything. I'm perfectly fine now. I went to public and private. I went to an international school. And basically, I ended up in independent learning studies, got my college degree, a double major, and now I'm working here with Nye. So I don't know really how it happened, but I attribute a lot of it on the next bullet there to the military. And I went in I know it's a paradox of information, but military intelligence, yes, that was where I was. And I'll actually tell you a little story about that later. But that's kind of my background. So I fit very well into this company because we totally exemplify non-traditional education. And I'm very much a student, like Nye is, of multiple sources, multimedia, and varied learning environments. So I hope that you guys have fun in this presentation. Get into it later.
I've got to mention, thank you, John, that he's my director of development. He comes up with new, crazy, interesting ideas to build better tools for education at KP. So I'm constantly challenging him to one-up himself. So this is our basic agenda. We're going to take a look through social media. We're going to see how it applies to the students of today. We're going to also take a look at how it applies to education specifically, then how it applies to here in FENI. Then we're going to learn how Twitter, Wiki, Facebook, and then if we have time, a little bit about blogging, which in my opinion is it's the ultimate but also the least important because it's been around for one of the longest. So with that, you'll notice that, here, another video. This is a really good one about social media revolution. So let's go ahead and play, click and play. Let's go, play. Oops.
Did I accidentally delete that slide?
Well, here, let me play the alternate way.
Even the nerd had trouble.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, but he's gonna solve them. Just takes many
Where is that one? Did we delete it by accident? Actually, let's see this one. This one requires reading. So pretty interesting facts there, right? Anybody seen this video before? No? Yes? Okay.
Showed it last year.
Oh, yeah, I did. There's a lot of those videos online that like really show the impact of social media, and that's just one of many examples that are out there. And actually, we'll have resources later that will give you more. So, anybody here overwhelmed with technology? Okay. Sometimes I feel that way too. It's my my world. So I'm going to show you this little video. Anybody been in this situation before?
Ma, calm down. Listen to me. I know it says click with the mouse, but on a laptop, the trackpad is the mouse. Now, put your finger on it. It doesn't matter which finger. Good choice. Now, move it down to your email icon. The little envelope. What do you mean, what does it look like? It looks like an envelope! You don't like the computer? Don't use it. Sure, we can exchange it for a salad spinner. Goodbye.
So has anyone been here, the recipient of the phone call? Or not the recipient, the originator of the phone call? Yeah? But that pretty much describes a vast majority of people. Only a few people, I wouldn't say few, but a smaller portion are people like this or like this. But yeah, I mean that's the transition between from one method to another method of expression is difficult for many, and it's not because you're lacking the skill or knowledge. It's because there's so much more in technology that it's hard to grasp. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to let you at least become more familiar with it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of technology. So do you like monkeying around on the internet? Now consider the events that have shaped the way we communicated over the past 200 years. Let's just take a moment to think, how we got from this to this. Oh, actually that's longer. But you get my point. We look at the way that we communicate just in the past 100 years, the past 50 years, the past 10 years, and you can see a huge dramatic change. So this really small fonted list is basically kind of giving you a quick overview as to how technology and communications started. Like in 105 BC, Chinese invented paper. In 1889, the telephone was invented. 1861, Pony Express. Radio, 1916. Television, 1939. Cell phones were first invented in 1979 in Japan. In 1994, the internet was born. 1994. That was just 16 years ago. 16 years. And then after that, texting, instant messaging, Facebook, Twitter, news feeds. It's a lot of information to be taking in. So the pace of information has exponentially grown in your lifetime. But we're also talking about the lifetimes of the students. And in the lifetimes of the students, it hasn't really changed that much for them. Not much. So technology is magical. I just want to take a minute to talk about one of my favorite tools. Everyone recognize what this is? iPad. When this device came out, I was like, finally, a tablet device that can be used to read emails and maybe look at websites. But when this thing came out, it completely blew my mind as to what I could do. For me, this is like Star Trek Realized. Anybody a Trekkie here?
Right.
All right, good. I'm not alone. Star Trek Realized.
You playing online yet?
Yeah. To be able to hold, it was nice to be able to have my cell phone, which is over here now. The internet and the world in my hand here. But it's just the way you interface with it. This is so small. So a little more impersonal. I would consider laptops one of the more impersonal, and then desktop computers the most impersonal way to interface with the information. But this is very organic. You work with it, you touch it, you feel it, you move stuff around. It fits very well. And because of that, it opened up a whole new world for me. And if you asked me like 10 years ago, if I would be holding this in front of you today, I'd be like, in this fashion. You know, I was hoping tablets would come out, but in this way that you could watch movies, you could do videos, you could play games on it, you could do so much. It wasn't in my imagination yet. And I have a pretty wild imagination. So, you know, I just want to exemplify, you know, the early crowd got to see a video about David Kasson. He's an artist, and he actually took one of these devices and then created works of art. So, why isn't it moving up? Come on. Oh. Yeah, that's really interesting that it's bogging down. Maybe I'm doing too many things at once. Turn this off. Turn this off. Oh, I have a yay! Wonderful pop-up notice. So. Sorry about this.
That's all right, we're learning.
It happens to all of us.
Okay, so there we go. So here he is, you know, using the iPad and creating, you know, paintings like this. Now, you know,
How is he doing that?
he's just using his fingers and using an app called Brushes. You know, it's a $7 app, and he created that. I'm like, oh my! And he has a video of it on YouTube of him drawing it. So you actually watch him going through the process in time lapse. In sped up motion. So you can actually watch him going through the process of doing that. And he did this sketch in about 3 hours, which actually seems like a lot of time, but in his paintings, he spends 100 hours on them. So that's actually very quick for an artist to do. Here's another one. And another one.
What's the application that you use to do that?
Brushes.
Brushes?
Yeah, $8 on the iPad. So because of the iPad, you know, we got opened up a whole new world of possibilities. So that's technology. So one of the things that we're going to be doing here at FENI is we're going to learn how to use Twitter. Okay. So I know that some of you might have brought computers to the pre-conference session. I think it was encouraged but not required. I know most of you have smartphones. Right? So I want to see, you know, raise your hand, how many people have smartphones, such as iPhones, Android phones, Crackberries? Okay, so we have a few people here. So I'm going to take you through the process of Twittering, and hopefully we'll be able to do it more through your smart devices. So this is the great Twitter experiment. You know, when I came with the idea, I'm like, I'm going to get everybody on Twitter. And people were like, yeah, right. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But the thing is, I'm going to try to teach you how to use Twitter in an effective way. This is one way we're going to use this communication device and put knowledge into practice. So can we get Twitter on the FENI? Come on. Can we?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. So first off, I'm going to do a little expository on what Twitter is. So here's another Twitter from one of my favorite TV shows, Big Bang Theory.
Let's begin. Show of hands. Who here is familiar with the concept of topological insulators? Don't kid yourselves.
I found another tweet from a student at Sheldon's lecture. Dr. Cooper has taken a relatively boring subject and managed to make it completely insufferable. Plus, he looks like a giant insect.
Listen to this one. Does Einstein's theory explain why time flies when you're having fun, but when you're listening to Dr. Cooper, it falls out of the sky bed?
Look, somebody took pictures and uploaded them to their Flickr account.
Oh, wow. How do you get an entire lecture hall to flip you off at the same time?
Apparently, if you're Sheldon, all you need to do is turn your back.
So that kind of shows how immediate Twitter is. You know, it's a way for students to express themselves in the now. And we'll be talking a little bit more about it, but in this particular instance, in the classroom, they're using it to, well, of course, you know, make fun of Dr. Cooper because he kind of deserves it. But in many cases, it could be used as an instant feedback mechanism in education. So, and we're going to be showing you how that can be applied in a minute. So, but here, you know, we're talking about Twitter. This is a cool little diagram about social media at its worst. So we got Twitter in the middle, and we got Facebook, MySpace, and TweetTalk. We got narcissism, stalking, and ADHD. So you can see how everything intersects right on Twitter, you know, because it is the ultimate form of self-expression. All right, so one way to explain the Twitter phenomena is through this video here.
And now, another download-a-sode of The Real Housewives of Sim City.
She needs to reset. I'll say it to her face.
No wonder traditional media is dead. Check out this webisode of Hypnotone.
Enjoy your outdated format, Grandpa. Nowadays, cool kids like me mash up our own photosodes.
It's from the kidnappers. My nephew is alive, and he's in this envelope.
They cut off one of my dimensions!
No. No! Oh my God! It's Bender! He'll save us!
What's happening to me? Is it puberty?
It's a phone call, dingus.
These iPhones are phones too?
Yeah.
Righto.
Hi, Fry. Did you know these iPhones are phones too?
Duh. Hey, is it safe to talk while you're flying?
Oh, totally. This thing's hands-free. That's how I can eat this taco. And this spaghetti. I'm hanging up now.
Hey, check out this internet video of some idiot crashing her spaceship.
You recorded that?
The iPhone records everything. All I did was add a laugh track and tweet it to my 10,000 followers.
Oh, that reminds me. It's time to twit my hourly twat gate. Sup, followers? Fry here. Burping eggs. Scratching my underarm fungus. Looking for love. Sam.
So I think that, you know, that's a very graphical representation of how Twitter and social media is so immediate through this. This is a little exaggerated, of course, but yeah. But the point is that, like, you know, things that happen every day can be put out there and then immediately broadcast to any number of people. But let's get a little serious about this now. Okay, we saw 2 funny clips, and we're gonna watch this one video. This is a video that probably some of you have seen. It's called In Plain English. It's a great video, and they have a series of about 6 videos explaining different social media tools. And I'll just go ahead and play it so you can kind of get an understanding of what Twitter is in its real form.
So, what are you doing? It's one of the first questions we often ask friends and family. Even if the answer is just mowing the lawn or cooking dinner, it's interesting to us. It makes us feel connected and a part of each other's lives. Unfortunately, most of our day-to-day lives are hidden from people that care. Of course, we have email and blogs and phones to keep us connected, but you wouldn't send an email to a friend to tell them you're having coffee. Your friend doesn't need to know that. But what about people that want to know about the little things that happen in your life? Real life happens between blog posts and emails, and now there's a way to share. This is Twitter in plain English. Thanks to Twitter, it's possible to share short, bite-sized updates about your life and follow the updates of people that matter to you via the web. Here's how it works. Meet Carla. She's addicted to her mobile phone, reads blogs every day, and has contacts all over the world. She heard about Twitter and was skeptical. After some of her friends couldn't stop talking about it, she gave it a try. She signed up for free and saw that Twitter pages look a little like blogs, with very short posts. Each page is personal and has updates from friends. She got started by looking up her friends on Twitter.com. After finding a few, she clicked follow to start seeing their updates on her Twitter page. Within hours, she began to see a different side of people she chose to follow. She didn't know that Stephen in Seattle was a baseball fan, or that Julia in London was reading a new investment book. The little messages from Twitter painted a picture of her friends, family, and coworkers that she'd never seen before. It was the real world. Soon, she became a fan of Twitter and posted updates every day. Her friends followed her updates and learned that she recently discovered a passion for Van Halen. They could see Carla's life between blog posts and emails. For Carla, Twitter worked because it was simple. The updates were always short, under 140 characters. Plus, she could post updates and follow her friends using the Twitter website, software on her browser, a mobile phone, or instant messages. By asking members to answer the question, "What are you doing?" Carla found that Twitter brought her closer to people that matter to her, 140 characters at a time. Find out what your friends are doing at twitter.com. I'm Leela Fever, and this has been Twitter in Plain English on the Common Craft Show.
So, is that a pretty good explanation of what Twitter is? So it's more than just a way of putting funny videos on the internet to followers, but it was originally created to answer that age-old question: what are you doing right now? And because of that, it's kind of spurred into what it is today. So, Twitter at FENI. One of the ways that we're going to be using Twitter at FENI is to be able to use it to try to create a social network. So those of you who are familiar with Twitter, what we have is a hash code. To explain hash codes is a way for people to track posts. So when you type a Twitter post out there, it goes into the internet. How do you find it? How do you keep track of what you talk about? So if you put this into your message, then it can be tracked. So what I have here on the secondary screen is a live Twitter feed. So if you know how to do it, go ahead and do it now. But as people post anything and tweet anything with this in the message body, it'll show up right here on the feed. So you could do, actually it's 140 characters. I like doing 144 all the time. I don't know why. So this is an example of what you can tweet. I'm really enjoying the social media and education workshop by Wang. Hash FENI11. That's a good one. If you if you want to do that one. Another one is like the chocolate workshop is amazing. I learned so much. And you can see that I did it, the hash without a space. It's okay. You can do that and it'll still be tracked. And this is another one for the extreme geeks. RT, which is actually a tool in Twitter, means retweet. That means that you're actually tweeting what someone else has tweeted. Woot, great. FTF, which means face-to-face. Workshop for the Thai cooking. I don't know what to take next. LOL. Hash code FENI11. So those are just different ways to use Twitter. So because of Twitter's 140 character limitation, people have come up with very interesting ways to express themselves with few characters, like this one. And one thing that I've done in my research with Twitter is that they've in schools, like you could have students tweet questions, and if you have a question, it'll show up here on the board, and then the teacher can respond to those questions. So it's really great for those shy students. And the other thing is it's tied to accounts. So if somebody posts something, profane, you'll know exactly who did it. So that's one of the things that you can be using in education. So anybody here want to give it a try? No? One of the things that we encourage you to do was to bring computers. But during the conference, if you have your computers afterwards, we have our cheat sheet, which will also tell you how to do it as well on the computer. On the smartphone, you can download apps or go to twitter.com and sign up. The cheat sheet, for example, is this one right here. This is a sheet with lots of information. It's a summary of certain social networking tools. On the back side, we have the tools we're going to be using here at FENI, which starts off with Twitter, Wikipedia or wikis, Facebook, and blogs. So I want you to be referring to this during the conference, because creating that social network and that social atmosphere will be fun. And the thing is, like, we want to put it into practice. So, while I'm going to play this 4-minute video about some teacher's Twitter experiment in the classroom. It's a very great news report. And if anybody wants personal help on getting onto Twitter on your smartphone, just raise your hand, and John and I will try to help you out as much as possible. So, anybody?
I had heard of Twitter. I was not familiar with it, but I knew that it was out there. I knew that it was a way that you could use both computer website and text messaging to post comments. I started to think about how I might be able to incorporate this into the actual classroom setting in my big group of 90 students as a way to pull more students into a class discussion that I ordinarily wouldn't be able to.
Wow, sorry. This video is not working very well.
You'll fix it.
So we do ahead and do this one.
I had heard of Twitter. I was not familiar with it, but I knew that it was out there. I knew that it was a way that you could use both computer website and text messaging to post comments. I started to think about how I might be able to incorporate this into the actual classroom setting in my big group of 90 students as a way to pull more students into a class discussion that I ordinarily wouldn't be able to do in 50 minutes with that many people.
It's been really exciting because usually in classes like this, you'll have 3 people that talk about the discussion material, and so to actually have 30 or 40 people at a time talking about it is really interesting. And then I can go back through the weekend and send them direct messages and ask them to probe kind of further and really think about the material that they've been reading.
I'm really impressed with all of your posts today. You guys did a great job. I do want to bring us back and talk about what some of the most useful things are that you either saw go up here or things that you talked about in discussion, the posts, or what you read.
Kids are able to get outside of their comfort zones. They're not having to worry about speaking in front of 200 people, 100 people, however many people are in the class. So I think it really helps. It actually gets the students incorporated into the class and makes them more enthralled, I guess, to get into what's going on and discuss things more.
People need to learn to get their opinion out somehow, and the class of 90 people, trying to pipe up and be heard over everyone else can be a little intimidating, but here all you have to do is type it out, hit enter, or send it from your phone, and your opinion's up there for everyone to read.
How you guys doing?
We're gradually losing faith in humanity.
You're gradually losing faith in humanity?
Yes.
All right, my work here is done.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're putting stuff that college students are paying for to learn out on the internet, and that college students are researching out on the internet for other people to find. And I'm really big on Wikipedia and the ability for you to find whatever you need to know on the internet, and for us to put more history knowledge out there through intelligent discussion is pretty cool.
The significant terms that we've talked about in our discussions, we'll tweet that, and so you can go back on it, and it's a pretty good study to look at what was most important with what we talked about that week.
What I have seen is that nearly everyone participates in some way, either in class on their computers or cell phones, or they do their handwritten comments and give them to the TA, and she posts them after class is over.
I don't have a laptop with me, so I'm using my phone.
If you got 15 minutes, you don't have time to call on every single student. So this allows, for a lot of information to get sent in quickly. And
I think it's actually probably better this way, because I know there's some kids where they'd want to have something to say, but they're a little bit shy or standoffish, so they don't always give it. So this gives a better opportunity for people to still express their views on what's going on and what's being discussed.
140 characters does limit the types of comments that they're able to make and the types of evidence and argument that they're able to make to back up their opinions. And there are some issues that we're discussing in class that do require a more in-depth approach to explaining one's position. But on the other hand, oftentimes there's a lot of miscellaneous information that students think they need to throw in that kind of muddle up the idea that they're trying to portray. So having to keep them limited to 140 characters does require students to get it the absolute kind of central point.
So I think it really forces them to focus.
I was traveling one week, and so the TA led the Twitter discussion in class. But while away in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I was able to log on to Twitter during our class period, during our class time, and follow the class discussion from another state. And as much as I could, I contributed as many comments as I could to what I saw the comments being posted on the Twitter board that week. My understanding is that students in class thought that was actually kind of cool. They thought that was pretty exciting, that even though I wasn't here, that I was still kind of participating in the class and giving them feedback on the types of things that they were saying. It was really useful for me too to kind of see how this works from afar. This is a very different format than your typical history discussion or history class format, and I had no idea how it was going to work. I think I remember saying, it's going to be messy, and I'm just going to have to come to grips with the fact that it's going to be messy, but messy doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad.
So, what you think about that? Give you some good ideas? I mean, it is a great tool, and one thing that I really keyed in on was that students who wouldn't normally raise their hand can actually participate and ask questions. And for me, that was something that I was very reluctant to do. So many of my questions never got answered because I wouldn't ask it. So that's one of many examples. Any thoughts? Any feedback? What you thought about the that news piece? Anyone awake? Yes.
It just seemed like it was really a gutsy move on her part to
very
go out
gutsy.
of her comfort zone and just make it happen. Like she said, she thought it would be messy, but it seems like I'm sure the students appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. It definitely speaks to the students very well. So, you step out of your comfort zone, you try something, a medium, and we go a little bit further out of our comfort zone to make things happen. So I can see that. Oh, look, I got 2 tweets already. Thank you very much. So the first one came from Cheryl Nesbitt, 22. Awesome start of conference. Thank you very much for that comment. And then Wang is presenting a fantastic seminar on tweeting to students. Can I tweet a wake-up call to them each morning? Actually, you can if you or if you wanted to. You can set up services that will you can actually do it yourself, or you can set it up so you could a timed service. There's things like that out there that automatically do things like that. So if you have any other questions during the conference, tweet it up here. If you have comments, definitely make use of this. And I'll be looking up there, or somebody flag me down if I didn't notice a question up there. So thank you very much for participating. So so go ahead and sign up. If you need any assistance during this conference to sign up, ask myself or Jonathan, and we'll be happy to help you. Because what we want to do is we want to make it easy for you to express yourself through that. Because now that this is posted here, it's on the board, and then we can go back and look at those comments.
What was the address for it that we're sending to?
Hash code, which is the # FENI 11. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk to you about was my thoughts about the video game generation. Like in the intro, you heard that I'm an avid gamer. Not really much anymore because I kind of don't have the time to, but I do play games on the iPad occasionally, or sometimes too much, more than I should. But one of the things that comes to mind is that most of these kids that you deal with are part of that generation. They're big gamers. Would you agree with me on that? Raise your hands if most of your students are gamers. Right? Anybody who doesn't have any video game students? No, because video game has proliferated our culture, just like television. So we look at the way that this graphic represents. We're looking at two different styles. In your generation, you were probably watching. You might have watched cartoons like Felix the Cat, Smurfs, SpongeBob, or Mickey Mouse, and those are iconic figures in your lives, in your psyche during the time when you're growing up. And the importance of that is this is your childhood development. Now, the television. Now, the childhood development, or young person's development, consists of this. A video game controller. So their characters are not those, because they still watch cartoons, but they gravitate and they have stronger feelings toward characters like Sonic the Hedgehog, Link from Legend of Zelda, Snake from Metal Gear Solid, and Mario. What kid out there doesn't know about Mario? And the difference between these kids and these kids is that this is entertainment being fed to them. They're receiving it, but that's about it. Whereas these kids, they're controlling their entertainment. They're controlling their destinies. These characters' destinies. They're making them do things to advance to the next level. And for me, that is a completely big shift in the way students learn. Instead of just sitting there and taking in the information, they have to interact with it. They have to play with it. They have to make Mario jump over the hole so they can get to save Princess Peach. That fundamental difference is really the biggest struggle that we're having with adapting traditional education models to kids like this. So, what do you think about that? So students, they interface now, instead of face-to-face, they interface the world through a PlayStation controller. They interface through keyboard and mouse. That's their way to get out there. Computers, some of them have smartphones, iPads, And one of the key differences with kids these days is that when you hand them a game, when you hand them a device, when you hand them, well, let's just take video games. One of the first things that most kids do, that I've noticed, and including myself, is whenever I get a game, first thing is, what do they do?
They play with it.
Play with the game. Okay, they start the game.
They just start.
Yeah, they start playing with it. But so when they start playing with it, when I started, I look at the options. I want to see what I can control in that game. I want to see what things I could change to change the game experience. So by having that mental attitude of looking at options, they want to know what the parameters are that they're working in. So when they understand that, they could change the color of the menu options, that they could change the speed of the text, they could change how the controller moves. Once they personalize their experience, then they move on to the game. And in that case, it's all about personalization. So, one of the exercises that I want to take you through today is using a service called Poll Everywhere. Now, this is an excellent service, and it's actually free for most users because they have a free version for participants under 30 people. So, in education, what that means to you is that you can use this to poll students for free without having to pay for one of those student response systems. And in this case, I'm asking the question, do you use a student response system? So a number of you have already been through this exercise. So for those of you who haven't, I'm going to briefly explain it to you, But if you need any additional help, ask your peers because they know how to do it now. But it's really easy. You can do it and now a third way, which is you use your cell phone in your pocket and text message 22333. So instead of a phone number, you type in 22333 or 2 2s and 3 3s. Easy to remember. And then in the body of your message, type in SRSY if you want to answer yes, SRSN to answer no. And already we have, looks like a respondent already. That's one way to do it. Another way is if you have a smartphone or smart-enabled device, you don't have to text, but you could just go to this website, pull4.com. So you can do it from a computer, from a iPod Touch, from anything that can get to the internet. Even cell phones that don't have full browser capabilities, you can still get to that. And then you just type in SRSY or SRSN, and then it'll affect it. And this actually comes up real time, as you can see. So this is a really great service, and this really kind of brings a level of interactivity, and I wanted to use it to kind of keep you engaged for those of you who have cell phone services. Now, if you don't pay for, if you don't have a texting plan, then and you have to pay for it, don't. Yes.
You have that website up now. Is that what you're actually watching?
Yes.
So I have the website up, and I can see it right on my laptop.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually plugged right into the PowerPoint. So PowerPoint, yeah, is plugged in, and it's very easy because all you do is you go to the site, you type in your questions, and it creates a PowerPoint slide. You copy it into your PowerPoint, and voila, there you go. So, all right, looks like we have more no's than yeses. So we'll give it another 30 seconds while I'm talking about this. So, and then a third way to do it is you can also use Twitter. So you just tweet @poll. So all you do is in the message @poll and then the word, and then it will go to one of these values here. So that's the 3 ways you can interact. And the great thing about this is that it's free. You don't have to pay for equipment. You don't have to buy. You don't have to learn new software. I think it's just as easy as typing in some questions. So, and I understand that when I asked this question earlier, only one person has heard of it or used it. So now that we have the rest of the crowd here, anybody else has used this or heard of this service before? Nope. All right. Wow, here's a new general information.
So you said only 30 people can respond at onto one question? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have it set up right now that one person can respond once. Now, there's a loophole, meaning that you could, because I've set up 3 different ways to respond, you could actually weight that. But in most classroom situations, you can control that aspect. Yes?
Like if the keyword S could not be found, make sure you...
Oh, did you type in, is the phone number? Okay.
When you in the SRSY and use the number as the 223.
Oh, yeah.
So,
let me just take a quick look at that.
It's not like the Twitter feed. So this way it's very obvious. Questions. If they send it from their phone, there is a way to do that, but it's advanced.
Oh, you need to do SRSY. I think you only type S.
Yeah, there you go. They're really passionate about it. They want you to know what they think.
that's definitely being interactive.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what that is. Yeah, why?
Okay, so, all right, very good. So it looks like, there's just went through. So we're almost even. So we got like half the almost half the respondents have the system, and then a little more than that does not have the student response system. Now, for those of you who do have student response systems, can you just chime in about how useful or unuseful or it is in your classroom?
I use once in a while I use clickers, especially when we're doing like our purchasing stuff or some of the survey stuff. It gets a little dry. There's very the stupid batteries. You get a massage. That's the answer you get. And the clickers aren't ready to massage the batteries. A lot of downtime that I haven't had great success with. Once in a while it goes great, and other times technology gets in the way sometimes. So this looks like pretty stinking easy. I don't have to worry about batteries and clickers. I don't have to worry about lots of that. I might give it a try.
Do you have to sign up for it?
Oh my gosh, college? They all have.
Well, I'm talking high school.
Yeah, high school is a different story, but
College, yeah. They all have.
you point out a good question. Like sometimes technology does get in the way.
Right. So you got to find that balance, and this is pretty easy. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the high school part, I understand that a lot of high schools are starting to use like iPod touches as things like that. That's a great use of that tool in the classroom. Because we do have cell phone restrictions and things like that at the high school level that we have to deal with, or even laptops. If they have laptops or netbooks or anything that's internet enabled. All right, so that's a good exercise. We're going to have a few more questions as we go through this.
Creating social misfits. They have no human interaction whatsoever.
Okay, so I've spoken enough. Now let's let Jonathan talk a little bit about data.
Okay. All right, a little bit of a change of pace, and I'm not actually. Nye's got so much good stuff, fun media, the ADD stuff that he was talking about. I'm going to let him spend up more of the time because we are running a little late. So I'm going to kind of fly through some of these statistics. But has anybody heard of the Speak Up survey? Is that familiar? ProjectTomorrow.org is a nonprofit, puts out a really interesting survey. They've actually got it up to about 500,000 people they survey now, teachers, students, parents even, administrators, and they basically determine a lot about technology, how it's being used, where it's headed in the classroom. And we did a lot of presentations on this, so I'm just gonna fly through a few of these stats. Like I said, or like Nye said before, this presentation is going to be available for download, so if you're more interested in any of the links, or you can go to our live sites and get all this material at a later date. But basically, the finding from the survey is that students of all ages and demographics are being held back by the lack of emerging technology in the classroom. There's a big rift between their life at home and mirroring that Web 2.0 environment, and then taking it to the high school, to post-secondary as well. So it's disengaging them from learning, and it's this opportunity to really kind of change the environment that's occurring. And basically, the finding is that we need to speak their language.
How do you react to the concept that the very technology has long since disengaged them from learning?
Oh, I completely agree with you. There's a huge balance, like he was talking about the balance between just the technology and the cell phone. It's like finding the balance between, the people who can't use it at all and the people who are absolutely dependent upon it. What I would say is that their studies are very unbiased, and they just show kind of the trends, and they'll let you kind of formulate your own decisions. And I'll speak a little bit to that point exactly here in a minute. One of the things that Einstein said, and I'm a big fan of some of his quotes, the only thing that interferes with my learning is my education, right? I think the more appropriate probably for you teachers is the only thing that interferes with my teaching is my administrators, parents, budgets, curriculum, deadlines, colleagues, students, and of course, like you said, their cell phones. It does. It's a big problem. But we're going to talk a little bit here in these slides about where this is headed, and maybe, hopefully, you can take something away. This one might be near and dear to your hearts. How many texts do you think teenagers send a month? I'm going to give you a few answers to choose from. This isn't tied to an SRS. This slide was built before, but we've got 4 different answers here between D, 1,389 texts a month. All right, I knew everybody was going to pick D, so I actually fixed the results, and it's actually quite a bit more than that. It's about double that. It's 2,286 texts a month on average, which to me is even crazy, and I'm in the younger generation. And here's an overachiever alert. This is kind of interesting. This gentleman by the name of Brady James in California sent 217,541 texts in a month. If any of you are very good at math, that comes out to about 15 texts per minute. Basically, the way he did that, though, is by setting up groupings. And, you know, students and young people today know you can set up groups on Facebook or in Twitter, and you can reach lots of people at one time. So his parents are probably, I would imagine he doesn't have that cell phone anymore.
Does he have any social skills?
I have no idea.
He's very social.
I'm actually going to, there's an interesting video here, but I think we're going to run short on time. So I'll leave that for later. A gentleman by the name of Michael Wesch has a great video. We've shown it before in our presentations, and it'll be up for download as well. So I'm going to skip this slide. Really good data on how the classroom is changing, but you can look that up later. Speak Up 2009 talks about this year the free agent learner, or as of their 2010 survey. I put a little picture of Jerry Maguire up there. He was talking about personalized learning, and that's really what this is about. The free agent learner wants, in their experience, individualized portfolios. They want interactivity, like he was talking about, in a wide range of sources. And they're really focusing on 3 themes: that it's socially based, incorporating social media, it's untethered on a mobile device, and it's digitally rich. So that's a big challenge in a lot of respects. But what it tells me is that textbooks don't have a monopoly on knowledge anymore. It's not a monolithic view of education. You know, kids are going to get their education from everywhere, and it doesn't stop when they leave the classroom. A little bit about this. Like I said, I'll go through these quickly. Some of these graphs are from Speak Up survey. They just basically show you the access as of 2009 surveys. Cell phones, and we can just look at the red here, that's high school, and this only goes up to grade 12. But basically, the smartphone access is at 31% saturation, that's across the country. They're actually projecting that number could be as high as 75% in 3 years. So in the high school class, that's 3 out of every 4 kids having a smartphone in their pocket. And keeping them from using it is going to become a bigger and bigger challenge. So they're trying to develop ways to encourage use and actually make the classroom more rich. Okay, so with that, we've got another one of these, and I'd really like to get some feedback on what you think about cell phones in the class. And really, you can be brutally honest here. I'd like to see the numbers, so if you wouldn't mind texting again to the same number, it should be up. I'll give you my answer. Should they be used in the class? Yes?
Could you define, before maybe we answer that, and maybe I don't know, I'm going to be speaking for myself, when you're saying class or lab?
I would say class. I would say in all aspects of education, should they be allowed to be turned on, internet access in their pocket, is basically what
And the problem you have is you're training these people for careers. You go to the job place and you're whipping out your smartphone every 5 minutes, you find
exactly
you're done.
Right.
So, it's like, yeah, it would be great to use it in class, but now we're going to promote habits that the employer is not going to put up.
Right.
Period.
That's true. That's a good point as well.
It's good, but then they're going to get out there, and the first thing my students can happen, my students are going to get fired because they can't put away the stinking cell phone.
Yeah, but that's very true, especially in vocational education. I guess you've got to push pull there.
The person I had a question about the layout. Were you referring then to a kitchen?
Right.
Okay, because this is a culinary group, it's a little bit different than, a traditional layout, maybe a border science.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I just wanted to verify here.
Absolutely, yeah, that's very different. Now, there is a little bit of a push-pull there as well, too, because, we actually create materials that are going to be, online videos that they can actually pull right in their pocket, cooking videos, have it sitting on a little stand next to their workstation, and that's kind of where we're moving. So I have a biased opinion on that, but yeah, I absolutely see what you're saying. Yes?
So I have a couple thoughts on that. One is that I teach at a community college level, so I get all ranges. I don't get just high school graduates, I get older folks too. So integrating technology is a challenge for an entire class. But what I discovered was that the younger generation has bypassed email. And when I'm thinking I'm gonna communicate with them through email, and they have to respond to make sure that they are ready for a test or whatever it is, they don't use email. And so, so I missed that boat entirely.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to miss another one, basically?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's a tough one. Yeah.
So that was one thing. The other thing too that I discovered, if I started putting all my notes and recipes and everything online, mostly so students wouldn't be carrying recipes around and all that kind of stuff. So what they do now in the lab is they download the recipe and they look on their smartphone and look at the recipe online.
Right.
And I got to thinking about it. It's really not a bad thing as long as they're not, standing next to the pot looking at their, phone.
Right.
But you would hope they'd look at it before class. That's why you put it up there at the beginning.
But to look at a list of ingredients or something like that they need to get for their needs or something, it works out pretty well. So I kind of turned the corner with that, I think.
Yeah, don't you find that it's slowing down the classroom though? I have a student with a smartphone who constantly wants to take notes on her phone. Oh, don't worry, Chef, I'm taking notes, Okay, I know she's on Facebook, fine, because I can see it. But taking the notes, oh wait, can you slow down? Because you cannot type that fast on these phones as you can write, you just can't. So the technology hasn't caught up or something has to change, but she's insistent with that, she just doesn't write very well. So she's insistent that she has to type on the smartphone, and it's not fair to the other students to sit there
That's very
waiting.
true. All really good points. I mean, I have my opinions, but I know that there's tons of challenges, and I hope that technology, I thought that I couldn't touch type on the iPad, and I'm still learning. Nye does it really well. He can touch type on that thing, and basically we're almost there. We're getting very close to having the technology to support some of those, or to at least further along some of those issues. So it's going to be
Take 2 more questions.
Because I think it's a more complicated question than simply a yes/no
Yes.
answer.
No, and I that's exactly why I asked.
I teach in kitchens
Yeah.
as well, and I have some of my students using it for great things, whether it's downloading their recipes, it's their calculator, it's their timer, they're photographing the demo plates so that they can go and recreate the plates for the restaurant that night.
Right.
All great uses, and yet at the same time, it's how do you regulate the inappropriate uses, which are...
Oh, absolutely, but this is the
supposed to be watching
question.
the video and they're
Exactly.
playing with their phone.
This is the question that they're asking the schools, and then they're supposed to come up with a blanket answer, yes or no. It's not an easy question. It's going to take a lot of work on many people's fronts. But just a good example. I'm going to go ahead and move along to the next slide here. Sorry about that. Digitally rich. How do they use their digital tools right now? This is how students currently use their digital tools. It's a graph, and like I said, you can pull this up. Basically underutilized. They complete writing assignments occasionally, maybe have a few slideshows they create, but digital interaction in the classroom is way below where it should be. It's way below where it is when they leave, and that's creating a problem because the process of creating content, like Nye was talking about, is very important to the free agent learner, which is the post-millennial learner. That's probably the buzzword we're going to be hearing for the next 5 years. The new textbooks or personal learning environments, or whatever you want to classify it as, is going to be very similar to social media, networks. If you look at this study here, you'll see this is what they want. The requests from students, teachers, and administrators. Games, tutors, animations and simulations, virtual labs, podcasts from experts. Things that you can get from vendors in a social environment, including the teachers, but not limited to just the classroom. It's really similar to the stuff you see up here that's defining social media. So basically what they're saying is it's going to head in that direction. The classroom is going to head there, and it's going to be very difficult to keep it from happening. So you can see that's Nye's license plate up there. He's very into personalization. He wants everything his way. And he's just like the modern student. They want to create, they want to interact with their content, they want to self-pace, and they want to share with their fellow students. And these are the four keys for them. So just the final graph here is just showing all the things in order of ranking how they want to be able to interact with their content, to download it to their cell phones, to watch those videos at their lab stations potentially. And it really, I used to think it wasn't going to have that much of a ripple effect into vocational education, but I'm starting to see that it might have the greatest impact there. The technical videos and the interactive guides that you can get real time while you're hands-on is pretty amazing. So just the facts in summary of this, nearly 100% of students want their online textbooks and environments like this. 93% of parents agree, but this one's big. 47% of teachers currently use no digital aids whatsoever. I was blown away by that stat, and it really surprises me. Less than 20% use digital text resources, and the existing online resources don't meet the demand. I can't really blame teachers because there's not a lot out there in some respects, especially for very niche industries like yours. But basically what they define meaningful use, and less than 9% of teachers meet that requirement. So it's a very big change. We're going to take a quick break for 5 minutes if we have time. Just more like a stretch your legs kind of a moment.
Stand up, stretch your legs. You know, we're at our 1 hour mark actually, so we're halfway through. Woo! Actually, with the delayed start, we're only about 5 minutes overtime, which actually is really good. So we're going to be catching up here. So coming up next, we got. Thank you, John. Give John a round of applause. We're going to take a few minutes to talk about the future of learning, an overview of what social media is, so you can have a better understanding of what it is. We're going to take you through an exercise on how to use Wiki, which is a really useful tool. If you know a little bit, you can go a long way. Facebook, integrating Facebook in the classroom, and eventually blogs. So we got two cute kids up here taking a nap. So we get up and stretch. Well. Take 5 minutes. Yes.
The sanitation board just.
That's a big one for me. Is bringing people together, and they don't feel like they feel part of something.
So sometimes
Yeah, that's very true.
My problem is I have to remember tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I bring I did too.
Yeah, it's like you gotta get outside your comfort zone, you know. Just
in terms of like using that, it's expensive.
Yeah.
I was born there and my mom
That was before McDonald's.
okay, no, that's fine. Now we basically some stuff at the end that's less. So we knew that was so we're trying to
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Making faces up here.
Oh, you're sitting at
it's always a passion.
Yes.
like, you know, SL number 8.
The way I say it is like I go see it. I was on this look and I saw about a 95-year-old carving this and I was just like, wow, that says it all. I never even complained about being an artist.
I think it's so cool. Yes, art.
Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed your break here. Let's start to reel everyone back in. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. I don't think actually only a few people left, but so we can wait for them to come back from their bathroom break. But in the meantime, so now that we are at our halfway point of the presentation, we're going to go into some really interesting facts and figures. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is what social media means to you. So before I get to that, we have a little bit of announcements. So go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I didn't want to interrupt, but we have some housekeeping announcements, and I don't want to hold you up at the end of the seminar in case you want the seminar to run long because we got a late start. I just wanted to remind you that there is an opening night cocktail reception this evening, and it starts, well, 5:30 to 7. If you're late coming out of this conference, it's not a problem. It's just downstairs. You can walk down to the green room from here. We're going to be enjoying some appetizers and from the Wisconsin Cheese Board and also from, I'm sorry?
Is it on the first floor or second floor?
It's actually between the first and the second floor. When you walk towards the elevators, there is a staircase, beautiful staircase. Just walk down that one flight and you're at the green room. So there will be complimentary wine and water and beers. I believe you all got 2 drink tickets in your welcoming bag today. So you should have gotten 2 blue and 2 red, and the blue tickets are for tonight. I will check with the Talcott office and make certain that they have some for you. We may be able to give them to you at the door if you don't have them. We're also going to have some visitors tonight from the Department of Cultural Affairs office who will be happy to work with you on restaurant suggestions. Tonight is the opening night of Restaurant Week in Chicago. So there are all kinds of wonderful special deals that are available in the city, and they can let you know about them. So thank you, and we'll see you in the green room anytime after 5:30. Thanks, Nye.
Thank you. Okay, so getting back, tonight we gotta get a great reception, so I want to get this done and over so you can go down and have some wine, because that's what I want, right? Some wine and beer. Okay, so moving on. All right, one of my visions of education, and before we do that, I'm going to go over a little bit about what you got on your desk. Well, first off, this is our social networking business card. You'll notice that this business card isn't a traditional business card. One of the things that we really like to employ about social networking is that, dispense with the older business card. Like, some of the information is redundant, and most of the information you can find on the web. So we want to focus on the important information. As you can see on the card, we have my name and my email address, phone number, and something more. So take a look at it. This yellow sheet of paper, this is your worksheet. I want you to fill it out by the end of the session. This is kind of like a survey of what you knew, past tense, you're supposed to be taking beforehand, knew about these different tools. I kind of want to just get a good gauge, and once we get all the information turned into us, we're going to post this on the FENI's wiki site, which I'll be showing you in about 10 minutes. So to complete this, and we'll turn it in at the end. This is a disc of what I've done. So you can take a look and see how I've integrated technology in the culinary arts classroom. So this is my work right here. The cardstock, this is your cheat sheet. This will be like, information about social networking tools. It's got a lot of information on it. I prefer to have it electronically, but I know that this will come in handy for you here at the conference. And then last is brutal honesty, evaluation. We want to get feedback so we can learn how to improve our presentation. Because this isn't the only time we want to do this. We want to do this more often because we love sharing our knowledge and hoping that the workshops that we present will become useful tools to you in education. Okay. All right. So with that, the future of education. Now this is one vision of the future of education. Back to my old Star Trek roots again. Now you might have seen this in the movie.
4 thirds pi times the radius cubed. 1.26 meters.
This is on the planet Vulcan, and in Star Trek terms, this is where Spock came from. Spock, lived long and prosper, pointy years. So this is a vision of how their education system is on the planet Vulcan and why they're so insanely smart. So I think that that's one way to kind of envision how students are gathering information because they're so inundated by it. And for me, I consider them all sponges. And this is a way that fictitious, but one way to inundate them with information. So this could be a future, but this is a future that I hope to see someday with this next one. Oops.
Operator. Tech, I need a pilot program for B-212 helicopter. Hurry.
Let's go.
Now, wouldn't it be cool to learn like that?
Wow.
Well, if you compare learning models, the way that we learn now versus the way we learned like 50 years ago, to the people from 50 years ago, it may seem like that to them. It's just going to keep accelerating. So yeah, maybe someday we'll be able to do that someday. I hope so. So let's talk a little bit about social media. This little graphic here kind of represents the current social media tools that are out there. Oh my! It's quite a bit. And yes, there's a social media tool for everything. Now there's a lot of copycats out there. There's a lot of tools that kind of do compilations of current social media tools. And there's others that are so unique to a specific niche that they only serve a certain demographic. But basically what I'm saying is that there's a flavor for everybody. Now, what I'm going to do is, you ever get frustrated with technology? I do sometimes, and sometimes I take it out this way. Now, this is from a movie that was released about 10 years ago called Office Space. And they're kind of a little frustrated with the copier fax machine not working 90% of the time. Oh. I didn't realize that there's
We're all over 21.
Okay. I never really listened to the lyrics. Being chefs, I'm sure you're a little familiar with language. Okay, so sometimes we feel really frustrated with technology, and technology can be a hindrance, like this one gentleman mentioned. But what would we do without a printer? Exactly. So we as educators take these tools and try to make the best out of them. And that's one of the things I want you to encourage you to think about is tools. Now we look at each of these pictures here. Do you recognize what these are? What are they? Carpentry tools, yes. These?
Plumbing tools.
Plumbing tools. Now I hope you might recognize this. Cooking tools. And how about this?
Architectural drafting.
drafting tools. Now, if I were to ask you to use these tools here, how proficient would you be? Very proficient. Now, let's go to this one. How about these tools here? Somewhat, exactly. You might know how to use a hammer, a saw, and a chisel, but then you got this thing over here that does scrapey thingies. Or called a lathe. A planer, that's right, a planer. And then, you get a little more, and then plumbing, and then, so on and so forth. The reason I illustrate this is that you think of social media as tools. And the more exposure you have to these tools, the more you can make use of it. And that's the purpose of this 2-hour workshop, is that I'm just going to expose you to certain tools, and hopefully you'll be able to take those tools and build a house someday. Or take those tools and fix your plumbing, or build an architectural dream, or that wonderful soup that you are so good at making. So each of these tools, like from that big list, we're gonna we focus down to some of the more popular ones, like everyone will recognize what this is, right? This is Facebook. This is a RSS feed. This is the way that people get news nowadays. Blogger, which is the way people do to express themselves. No one uses this much anymore, but MySpace, Wikipedia, Flickr, and Twitter. We already talked about Twitter earlier.
Do you?
Yes.
Twitter, it's like how they explained what Twitter was, where it's like, I'm cutting the grass, I'm reading a book. I don't tweet, but I'm like, I don't really care. I mean,
That's our generation.
Every thought doesn't need to be public at every time.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do kids do the kids use Twitter?
Too much information.
Do they tweet a lot?
Well,
Do they really care that somebody's...
And that's actually a very good point. A lot of what Twitter is used now is to follow people that matter to them. So, like for instance, like some celebrities use Twitter and they tweet about where they're going to be or what they're doing, and people are interested in that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but everyday activities, most people don't do that because it is kind of innate, to be tweeting about your underarm fungus or burping, and like in the
But I can
previous
see
clip.
how a celebrity would use it.
Yeah, so there are active uses for it. And there are still so stupid uses for it. It's like any tool. You can use it for really good stuff, and you can use it for totally idiotic stuff.
And if you know the person's name or you know what their handle is, you have no control over who reads your tweets, right? Anybody can read your tweet.
Unless if you set it to private. You can set your Twitter account to private, which is something that as educators, that was one of the things I forgot to point out earlier, is that if you do create a Twitter account, you can set it to private. You could create a profile just specifically for your school handle, and then when you do that, you would have your students follow you, and when they follow you, they get whatever you post. And then if the student uses it, they'll actually probably have their Twitter account set up so that they're getting the information, and then whenever you post something, they get a text message, an email, a Facebook message. That's one of the things. It's a conduit, and then the person decides how I want the conduit to get to me. So if somebody posts a Twitter post about me, then I would get a text message about it, and then I'd be like, okay, what was that? And then I would respond to it, or I would ignore it. Something. But at least that way, I know that I have multiple ways to reach me, and vice versa. So. The point with tools is that to get you to know enough to be dangerous, okay? So now, back to John.
All right, I'm going to do a really quick little story here that I thought, I tried to think long and hard about how social media, like what in my experience is something very unique that I could impart upon you. And basically we've talked about how it's about expressions, it's about connections, it's about relationships. But I thought very clearly about it's about not getting left behind. And this was a very personal thing that happened to me. So I'm going to tell you a little story that I'm able to tell you about. Basically, I told you before that I was in military and intelligence. And when 9/11 happened, I'm going to give you an example of social media in a way that you never thought about before probably. I was stationed on this aircraft carrier here, which was decommissioned. It's the Kitty Hawk, the oldest. Yeah, I'm surprised it was still afloat. But basically, we were the forward deployed carrier, and we went to the Arabian Sea, to Afghanistan before anybody was there. And I was a subject matter expert in Middle Eastern studies, so there was a commander who started a task force of people, and this, by the way, this is privileged information because this was classified, and now it's been open source for about a year now. But basically, they set up people, they took 6 of us, and they said, we're going to send you each city in Afghanistan. And I went to Kandahar, Afghanistan, and they said, we're going to give you an encrypted cell phone, and you're going to go to a hotel and check in and provide basically like a liaison service for foreign people, intelligence operatives, UN personnel, to get some rest, get a glass of water, a good night's sleep. I was basically going to provide this facility. And basically what happened was, because of the compartmentalization of information in my community and the fact that it was all kept very secret and hush-hush, nobody really knew about what we were getting into. And when we went there, it turns out, because of an emergency situation, the commander of my unit and his staff of 2 people were completely out of touch, and nobody knew where we were. So we were instructed that we'd get a phone call the next day on our phone. No way of contacting people, and the phone never rang. So I was stuck in Kandahar when the bomb started to drop in my hotel, and I did not want to leave the room. So I stayed in the hotel room for 23 days, and it turned out that our documents were found in a red fire locker on a ship. They keep them in these lockers on outside of a military base in Hawaii, and they opened it up, and they're like, wow, what is going on here? And they were able to pull all 6 of us out. One gentleman was injured in a sad story, but he's fine now. But it just shows you how crazy that is, to think about how information was compartmentalized, and for good reason. But what I was thinking about was, wow, that was less than 8 years ago now, and that couldn't happen today. It's not possible. I could have walked outside and found a mobile device, even in Kandahar, Afghanistan. It's not that backwoods. Somebody would have had an internet connection somewhere with 3G service or something, and I could have posted on my Facebook, hey, Mom, Dad, stuck in a hotel in Kandahar, notify CNN so they can come get me out. And I'm thinking about it like, it sounds crazy, but we are there. We are there as a world where that could happen, and it's not even a security risk. I could have said that, and that's something that the intelligence community, which is so compartmentalized and backwards in some ways, would never think to allow, but it's something that I could have done. So it's just a different way to consider, and I forgot to go to the next slide here. Yeah, that's where I was, in there, in a little hotel. And I was got out fine. It's probably the most boring 23 days of my life, but I didn't want to leave, and I'm thinking now that if I had a cell phone with Facebook, it would not have taken that long. So it's just something to think about. When you say no child left behind, it's a good analogy. You can get left behind, you can get lost, but not anymore. If you are connected, you can't get lost. So just take that information with you, and I hope it has an impact.
That's an amazing story.
Thank you.
It is a good story.
Okay. Back to Niall. I'll let him finish.
All right, back to me, my multimedia explosion extravaganza. And when we get to our wiki site, you'll actually see where I set up a really great resource so you can actually download a lot of these videos and information as well. So this is another a plain English video that basically explains social media very well. And actually, it does it with a food twist. So I think a lot of people would
I'm sure you've heard the buzz. Social media may be the next big thing. What's it all about? This is social media in plain English.
I see I got another tweet, so
Let's
keep the
take a visit
tweets
to
coming.
Scoopville, a town that's famous for ice cream. For over 20 years, Big Ice Cream Company has been making high-quality ice cream with a big factory in town.
The next slide.
A few years back, the company did focus groups and found out that they could maximize profits by offering 3 flavors: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. The residents of the town were content. They never thought it could be different. Then something happened.
Now we're running into that whole playback issue again. So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
I'm sure you've heard the butt has been mixed groups, and town were content. They never thought it could be different. Then something happened in Scoopville. A new invention came to town. Suddenly, everyone can make their own ice cream for only a few dollars. This changed everything. The Smiths decided to make pineapple ice cream. The Joneses made ice cream with pecans. Soon, every kind of ice cream imaginable was being made by Scoopville's residents at very little cost. Of course, some ice cream was more popular than others, and that was okay. Sylvia's pickle ice cream had a very small but loyal following. That was fine. She only needed enough income to buy ingredients for her next batch. Jarrett's red velvet ice cream became so famous, he created his own store. Over time, people started to think differently about ice cream. It didn't always come from a factory. It also came from friends and neighbors. It became something to share, something to bring people together, something to celebrate. Big ice cream companies still made the best vanilla around, and to their surprise, demand even grew. But it was the unique, original, and authentic flavors made by the residents that brought people to Scoopville. When they arrived, however, there seemed to be a problem. There were too many flavors. Visitors felt overwhelmed. They needed ways to find the new, the popular, the flavors that were interesting to them. Franklin had an idea for his ice cream. Outside his house, he erected a board and invited his customers to share their thoughts on his ice cream. They could use words to describe it, stars to rate it, and leave messages for others. People loved it. At a glance, visitors could tell what his ice cream was all about and learn from people like them. Over time, each resident had their own board. Sylvia's board showed that her pickle ice cream didn't please everyone, but was very unique and interesting. Jarrett's board overflowed with positive reviews and ratings. Soon, a few things became clear. First, their ice cream got better because they could learn directly from customers. Second, free customer reviews were more valuable than costly advertising. And third, the boards created a way for customers to find exactly what they wanted. The combination of new technology and new ways to work with customers helped the residents feel like a unique community. So, this is social ice cream, by the people, for the people. It turns out that ice cream and social media have a lot in common. Today, everyone has a chance to make their own flavors, thanks to free tools like blogs, podcasts, and video sharing. Plus, we now have new ways for real people to play a role in providing feedback, organization, and promotion. Whether you're a big, established company, an individual with loyal fans, or simply someone with ideas and opinions, social media means new opportunities to create and communicate with people that care. New tools are arriving in cities and towns around the world. When this change comes to your neighborhood, the choice is yours. What flavors will you make? I'm Lee Lefevre, and this has been Social Media in Plain English on the Common Craft Show. One more thing. The Common Craft store now offers downloadable versions of our videos for use in the work.
Yay. Okay. So that's a pretty good definition of utilizing ice cream as an analogy to social media. It's basically the way for people to express themselves. So we come to a question: what does social media mean to you? You know, we look back to Web 1.0. It was determined as the first generation of the web. And it was there for people to get information. You know, companies or web programmers or computer geeks put that information out, and they were the only ones who really could do it because they had the tools and skills and know-how or the money to be able to put that information out, and that's how you got information. It was phenomenal because never before was there a way to get information so easily, so quickly. But it was lacking a critical component, which is the ability for someone without those skills or money or resources to be able to put their own information out there. So Web 2.0 is all about putting information. That's when Twitter, blogs, Facebook, and all those social networking tools got invented. And then, pretty soon here we're actually up to a new precipice of internet technology, Web 3.0, which is still being hashed out by the supreme computer overlords. And actually, was it today that President Obama met with the Silicon Valley titans? Yes. So basically, that's being determined right now. But Web 2.0 is about expression, and that's what the kids are living in. And as we saw with the social media explanation, places like Yelp, ePinions, Foursquare are becoming critical for expressing, especially for businesses, about certain products and services. So those are things that we as educators have to be critical and aware of, because it does drive the industry, especially the fact that now, instead of having your voice recommending someone else to another restaurant. Because of Yelp, in Chicago you have like a multitude of places to eat. But then, how many people can you talk to? You can talk to the concierge, and the concierge can recommend a few places. Or you can look on Yelp and try to find a place that meets your flavor, and then read some reviews, and then go, okay, I want to eat there tonight. Anybody here use Yelp? Okay, a few. Okay. Foursquare? No? None? Okay. Foursquare is a driving force for restaurants and businesses now. So that's something that you should really pay attention to. And then, one of my favorite sites is ePinions, because you want to read about a certain product, and then people write about those reviews, like a mouse or something. So how does social media relate to education? One of the first things we ask is, does it belong in education? I think during this presentation, I hope that whatever preconception about social media you had, maybe you'll be a little more open to it. Because I understand that it is something that is highly resistant. Can it be used realistically in education? And lastly, especially in education at the secondary level, a lot of concerns about personal privacy and protection. Because one of the things that when you hear about the most is how XYZ teacher got suspended because of XYZ comments on Facebook or Twitter or things like that. So it is a very treacherous world, but to me, I don't think we should discount those, or we should count those problems as a reason to not use these tools to reach the students. So, putting social media into practice at FENI, like I told you earlier, we wanted to use Twitter, so I gave you one tool to use at the conference. Twitter, it allows you to express things on the internet very quickly and easily. You don't have to log in on anything other than that simple service, and then as you can see, we have a number of posts already relating to FENI. Once again, if you want to post to FENI's Twitter feed, it's # sign FENI11. We want to use social media tools for us in the conference to get connected in a different way. We want to share stories. One of the things that, I've been coming to FENI for quite a number of years, and at every single master class, I take a couple, and then after the master classes, I ask you, what do you think of the class, or what class did you take? And you would say, oh, that class is awesome. And I'm like, oh, cool, I need to remember that, for maybe next year or something like that. And then I talk to someone else. Maybe I talk to 6 or 7, maybe 8 people, but that's about my entire reach. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if somebody were to express their opinions on the internet so that I could reach more people? So I could go, oh, cool, this class is really great. This person had a really wonderful experience in this class, or so on and so forth. So, one thing that I want to encourage you to do is to share stories. We want to create a community. I want you to be able to use this tool to not only post about your experiences, but then you could go, hey, I remember that person, and then you can go, I want to follow that person on Facebook when we talk about or Twitter. So that we can also create a secondary network besides handing out business cards to each other. Given that opportunity to create that network is very invaluable. And I want you to get out of your comfort zone. I want you to try it at least once, because there's a reason why. Because you can win a prize, like was mentioned earlier in the thing. We're actually sponsoring a prize for this. To encourage, and hopefully this will be a good encouragement for you to use this tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to count the number of tweets. Now don't just spam tweet, meaning just tweet the same thing over and over again. It has to be meaningful. Or in other cases, Twitter, not in Twitter, Facebook, post something on a wall, post a picture, post a comment or something like that. So by Sunday night, we're going to tally each of those tweets, and we're going to be, or posts, or what we call web instances, and then we're going to draw for a prize. This is a flip camera. This is another social networking tool. It allows you to shoot video very quickly and easily, put it on the web through YouTube, Vimeo, or Twitter video, and then link to it. This is one of the best tools for as a teacher, because you could quickly and easily film your own stuff and then put it out there so that your students can see it, like demonstrating technique. This is not just a flip camera. This is a Minio HD. So it's a high definition flip camera with 8 gigabytes of memory, meaning 4 hours. The standard ones that they have out there is 2 gigabytes, which is like 1 hour's recording. So this is actually a souped up flip camera. 4 hours recording, valued at $250 or $199 if you go on eBay. But if you were to go to Best Buy, you pay $250 for this piece of technology. So this is what's up for stakes. So right now, these 5 people, or 4 people actually, we got, so this person has already got 2 entries already, have entered themselves into the contest. And the way we're going to do the drawing is through a really unique technological marvel. We call it the super raffle, which means that every single tally you have in there, you're going to be assigned a special number. We're going to be using a computer to generate the raffle, and we're going to be utilizing 3 practical elements. A Scrabble tile, which will determine which group letter you're in. A dice, which will determine what what subgroup. And then you flip a coin. So it'll come to two last names, and then we'll flip a coin and find out who wins. It's a more exciting way than drawing a number out of a hat and say, "Hello, congratulations, 739723. You're a winner." Okay. So, everyone motivated to tweet now? Come on. Come on. You can win a prize. Just to participate. You can't win if you can't play. If you don't play. All right. So with that, let's look at this funny little clip on social media gone berserk. And you can probably already notice my ADHD. I throw a lot of media in there because I can't imagine how you guys can pay attention all this time.
Listen, I've got to have a word.
Jen, you can change your settings on FriendFace so you don't have to have that annoying bleep every time you get a message.
Incoming message! Yeah, I just have to tell you about...
Yeah. Just open a chat window and then we can all talk in it.
How do I do that?
You just, you press the speech bubble in the left-hand corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah, but don't forget if
What do you like?
If I might interject. That's hilarious. That was a classic Moss line.
Yeah.
This is from a British show called IT Crowd.
I feel so social.
So, yes, actually, you might know someone who's just like that. And that's one of our fears about social networking and the like, is the lack of human interaction. But so, and that's unfortunately one of the faults of it. But it's, some would say it's still communication, as absurd as it looks. So, so we're going to move on to Wikipedia now. Now, who here knows what? Okay, does anyone not know what Wikipedia is? Anybody? Okay, who here actually uses Wikipedia in the classroom? Okay, no. Okay, yeah. In education, that's one of the things that we try to shy away from because it could be anything.
Morons can post anything
Yes,
they want.
morons can post anything. Exactly, because it's not a secure source.
No.
No. But the thing is, the concept of Wikipedia is what I want to talk about, not about the information. Because it's not about Wikipedia, it's about the user-created repository of knowledge. And we take the Wikipedia out, we take the pedia out, and then we talk about Wiki. So Wiki is actually the tool that Wikipedia is based off of. So, we have another video about what Wikipedia, how to use Wikipedia.
These 4 friends are going on a camping trip. They need to bring the right supplies because they're backpacking. The group needs to plan and plan well, so coordination is key. They're all computer users, so they start planning with an email. It starts with 1 that then becomes a barrage. Email is not good at coordinating and organizing a group's input.
Ever run
This
into
is
that?
the old way. Boo! The important information is scattered across everyone's inbox. This isn't coordination. Let's start over. There is a better way. It requires you using a website called a wiki. Using a wiki, the group can coordinate their trip better. This is the new way. Yay! Most wikis work the same. They make it easy for everyone to change what appears on a web page with the click of a button. It's as easy as erasing a word and rewriting it. The buttons are really important. There are two that are essential. They are edit and save, and they are always used together. Let's see them in action. Here are our camping friends, and this is a wiki website. Like all wikis, it has an edit button. Clicking this button transforms the web page into a document. All you have to do is click it, and the web page becomes a document ready for editing. Editing the page means you can add or remove words or change how they look, just like writing a letter. Once you're finished editing, you click Save, and the document becomes a web page once again, and is ready for the next person to edit it. Easy. Edit, write, and save. Using this process, a group can coordinate more easily. Let's apply this to our camping friends who need to bring the right supplies. Mary signs up for a wiki site and then sees the new site for the first time. She clicks the edit button to get started. She creates two lists for camping, what we have and what we need. Under We Have, she lists the things she will bring, the cooler, stove, and flashlight. Under We Need, she lists items that others need to bring, compass, lighter, water, and food. She finishes the process by clicking Save, and the website now has lists for the camping trip. Now it's John's turn. John visits the wiki website, clicks Edit, and the page becomes a document ready for him to make changes. John volunteers to bring food and water, so he moves those to the Have column. He also realizes the group will need a knife and rope. Once he's finished, he clicks Save, and the wiki is ready for the next person. Henry visits the wiki, clicks Edit, and he can edit the page. He remembers they need a tent. Henry saves the page, and the wiki is ready for Frank. Frank edits the page and agrees to bring the remaining items, completing the process. Frank saves the page and realizes something awesome. The group has created the perfect camping list without email. Yay! But wait, one thing is missing. They need a location for the campsite. The wiki can help with this too, but another page is needed. John visits the wiki and clicks Edit to edit the page. He types in the word locations and highlights it. He then clicks the link button. This changes the word locations into a link to a new page. John clicks Save, and next, Frank visits the wiki.
All right, we're going to stop here, but you get the point. It's a collaborative tool, and actually, this is a tool that it's very well embraced by education, as we see it. Primarily in the post-secondary arena, but I've seen some really great examples of it being used in the high school or secondary arena. So prior to watching this video, how many here thought wikis was just Wikipedia? And that's the common misconception. You know, Wikipedia is the popularized version of it, but wiki, all it is just a place for people to edit and save. Like, you know, and the problem with Wikipedia that many people expound upon is that anybody can, but actually that's not entirely true. There's certain watchdogs that watch out for the information as well. But in any case, it's all about the concept of how the information can be accessed and edited by anyone, rather than having to go through HTML, web programming, JavaScripting, CSS cascade style sheets, and all this other technical mumbo jumbo that would be required to create a website. Now, ever been in a situation where, oh, I need to change something on my website. Oh, let me contact my district web administrator. Oh, okay, I'll be able to get to it in 2 weeks. Oh, well, it's about tomorrow's blah, blah, blah. Anybody ever been in that, wanted to post something on the website, and by the time they were able to get to it, it would be like weeks later? And that's the problem, is like this puts the power of information in your hands. So, Wiki at FENI. I created a site at wikispaces.com. So to get to it, just type in FENI 11 from your computer, or actually your smart device, wikispaces.com, and you'll be presented with information about the conference. And I'll show you about it in a second here. What we want to do with the wiki is we want you to add your own thoughts and feelings about the classes. another way to do it other than through Twitter. So what this basically lets you to do, let me go to that site.
So you have to register on the site before?
No, it's complete. I left it completely open. Wikispaces is one of many free tools out there to create wikis, and Wikispaces actually allows you to do it for educators to have those things for free, because there's free and paid services, and the educators can get a free version of the paid services. So when you go to FENI11.wikispaces.com, wonder why, oh, there we go. You'll be presented to this page. So this is a wiki that I created using Wikispaces free. It's easy to sign up, and it's actually one of about half a dozen that are out there. This is used by a lot of educators, and there's actually other ones like PBWiki. I've heard, probably some of you have. Actually, let me see a raised hand. Anybody currently use wikis in your classroom right now? No? Owen? Okay. How do you use it?
We're just starting. We did a workshop on it last week, so this is good to tie to it. But we're going to create usernames for the students. You know, they have to log in, so when they do post something, we know who did it in case there's some kind of a negative.
Yes, and that's actually a very good point. In this one here, I left it open so that anybody can edit, because I didn't want to force you to have to go through that process. But the thing is, in education, you could lock it down, make it private, so that no one else other than registered users can read it. And then every single person has to have a unique username. So when they log in and they edit something, it's tracked. So in this case, we see that we have the page, and we have certain links. So here's a link to Twitter. Here's a link to Facebook and blogs. And then what I did was I created pages for each of the sessions. So this one is the one that we're currently sitting in. Then we have a welcome reception. Then we have the drawing and welcome, and so on and so forth. Then we have Saturday master classes. So if you click on the world that's connected, you'll be presented with my page. And this actually is very easy for you to edit. All you do is just type stuff in, insert a picture, and then Wikis does the rest. So here, you'll see that all the resources that I've been using today is right here in one spot. So if you log in, you'll be able to go, okay, what was that night talked about? Oh wait, he didn't get a chance to talk about the Wall Street Journal article on a bakery that's creating custom-made cakes presented by their customers, and it's a really great way to social network. So I encourage you to look at that article. We don't have time to go over it right now. So, but here it is. No, actually, that's not it. So then we have websites. We have interesting information on Twitter, Wiki. So basically, everything that you need to know about social networking. And you didn't even have to sit through this boring 2-hour lecture. So there we go. Now everyone can leave. Okay, please don't leave. So this is a compilation of hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of research and thinking about this topic for months and months and months and months and months. Because because there are so many tools, how to use Twitter in education. There's so many great ideas. And I didn't want to get into the minutia of it because because a lot of the information is already out here. I just wanted to make sure that you have an understanding of it. So if I wanted to edit this, I would just come over here and hit edit, and then I would type something, and then I would hit save, just like in the video.
So anybody could do that to that site?
Anybody can do that right now, yes, until I lock it down. So what I want you to do is to use it to add your own stuff, and I'll show you where you can do that later. So if we look at the history tab here, you'll see all the edits that were made by me. So I could go, oh gosh, somebody made an edit here, let me select it, and then it'll compare the two versions, and it'll go, okay, this was inserted, this was deleted. So it actually knows exactly what I made changes to. And if I want to go back to a previous version, I'm going to hit back, select, and then review changes. Then I could revert back to the previous version of it if I wanted to. Where is the revert? Oops. Oh wait, that's one of those paid tools. Okay, you'll have it as an educator. So all you have to do is sign up and do with a EDU or some sort of school email address, and then they'll do that. I have my own wiki server, so I have all those tools available. But this is the free one. But I can always go back and I know what's going on here. And then you can have a discussion on that page, so it could be a topic of information. And this is outside of the big page, so you can actually have a running discussion about this topic. So you can actually post here and say, oh, this demonstration was horrible, he couldn't revert, or something like that. And then you can discuss stuff, and then try to come to a consensus about the information, and then make the final edits in the main body of the page. And then the last tab here is really useful, especially for you, is that you can actually have the email sent to you whenever a change is made. And actually, it blocks emails, so it doesn't do it for every single change. And I was like, this page was changed by so-and-so, 58 times or something like that. And you can also have, tying the feeds and things like that. So, for example, at FENI, let's say you're taking Saturday's master class, and I am taking the Taste of Thailand class. So here, you can see the information about the class, and then I put a little space here that says, please write your comments below. So in order to qualify, you'll need to actually use your name when you edit this, for the drawing, of course. So we come over here, and then we go, okay, I hit edit, and then I'm going to say, amazing, 5 stars. Okay, there we go. So that's one example. And then I hit save. And then, well, now it's there. And then the next person could go on the page and then edit and save. 2 people go on at the same time. The first person who's editing, the second person will be notified and say you can't edit because someone else is doing it right now. So that's basically Wiki in a nutshell. It's a great repository of information. It's basically like you're creating your own website. And I have resources in here that are wonderful examples of how it's being used in education. There's 100 ways to use Facebook. No, not Facebook. 10 best practices in Wiki education. I'm just going to tell you one instance that I ran into recently. Was a teacher who taught culinary arts at a low-tech center. But so one of the projects that he wanted to do was he wanted to bring a history element into the class. So what he did was he partnered up with the social studies teacher, and the 2 classes created a wiki, and they chose a subject. So the first challenge of the wiki was to decide what type of subject they wanted. So they spent a couple days deciding it. So they chose Navajo cooking. So what the social studies class did was they did research on the subject, and then came up with the history of cooking and also came up with a recipe. And then the culinary arts side, they came up with additional recipes and additional information on the culture. And what they did was they employed cooking techniques that were used traditionally by the Navajos, and then they cooked the dish for the social studies class. So it was a win-win for everybody because they got a little bit more of a history, and they got the practical aspect of cooking a unique dish using historical tools. So that was one of those ideas that I came across. But there's so many more, and the potential of doing collaborations across the different departments is really what it's about. And it also goes beyond that, which is you could actually create a wiki and partner with someone from outside of state, from outside of country, from outside of world. Okay, no, not yet, but
the Vulcans.
Yeah, the Vulcans. Yeah. So that's Wiki in a nutshell. So, I encourage you to use it. I hope this is a good explanation of it, and I hope that you can actually make good use of this tool here during the conference. Okay. Now moving on to Facebook. Any questions about wikis here? Like it, don't like it? I should have put a poll up there for it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, okay. Yeah, it is a better use of Twitter for classroom use, but think outside of the box. Still use Twitter. Okay, Facebook. Anybody here not know what Facebook is? Raise your hand. Okay, we have one participant here. Okay, Facebook has proliferated itself in our in almost every aspect of our life. You know, there was a movie made about it already. You know, how crazy is that? You know, the movie was made out called The Social Network. So it is the ultimate social network. So speaking to which, you know, we're going to.
It's a piece of spyware. It's nothing but information gathered. That's all
it is.
Yeah.
So just a little video about Facebook.
substantial in order to get the attention of the clubs. Why? Because they're exclusive and fun. Lead to a better life.
People want to go on the internet and check out their friends, so why not build a website that offers their friends pictures, profiles?
They're talking about taking the entire social experience of college and putting it online.
So it got 2,200 hits within 2 hours.
That was
So that was just a little clip from the trailer for the movie Social Network. I'm not advertising that movie, but I just thought that was, you know, it expressed, you know, the essence of Facebook. You know, it's about, you know, capturing an experience, and in this case, they originally created it to capture the college experience, and now it's kind of proliferated itself to all aspects of life. So, you know, here's another quick, there's a 60-second clip about.
Can you use my email address?
FriendFace, which is actually
Jenny Wenny at FriendFace. Oh, you've
not a
never
real
seen
site.
FriendFace, have you?
Yes, I have actually. Why not? It's great. I joined last night and I've already got 30 friends.
Yes, let's all join FriendFace and become part of the herd. I don't think so.
That's terrific. You can catch up on old friends, you can flirt with people.
I think I've got better things to do than to talk to friends and flirt with people, thank you.
You can play Scrabble online with it.
It's just another way of shoving advertising in your face, Jen. Don't do it, you'll regret it.
It might be a great way to meet women. All the girls from 7 are on it.
I'm in.
What?
I joined. What you said about Scrabble, I'm in the game now.
What? What about the advertising?
Oh, advertising doesn't have any effect on me, Jen. I tune it out. So the girls on 7, Kimberly, she's on the...
Yeah, all right. You know, that was a, you know, there was a comedy piece on that, and yeah, I mean, people go on for various reasons, and it's become such a standard that in order for you to do things on the internet, you have to have a Facebook account now. And as I was being distracted by my phone, I'm going to show you why I was being distracted by my phone. You know, can it be used? So here at FENI, actually that was it, Facebook at FENI, I'm just going to show you, now let me talk about that. We'll go back to this homepage here at the wiki site, which is an incredible resource of information about this conference and this session. We have over here Facebook link. So in order, so what I want you to do is I want you to, a way to connect yourself to Facebook very easily is by clicking this like button, which in this case it says unlike because I've already liked it. And then down here we can see that, you know, certain people have already liked it. This is one very easy way for you to socially network, because all you do is click on that button, and the next thing you know, you have your profile linked into the FENI page. So I click on this, and here is the FENI page. And oh look, here's a picture of you guys sitting here watching this the social network. So you can see the immediacy of that. You know, I could just take a picture using my smartphone, post it right into the FENI site. Now, can you think of practical applications of this in the classroom? Maybe a couple. You know, the picture's not the best. You know, light saturation's a little high, but yeah, it's a good picture. But you know, it could be a picture of a food. It could be a picture of a process, a technique. You know, it could even be a video that could be posted on here. So here I am, and I could just write something about this class right now. Oops. Unfortunately, since I created it, it posts me as FENI, so I have to do NI because it won't post, it won't show me as me because it thinks me as FENI. But you won't have that problem. But when you create your pages, you'll be as the page. So pages are very easy to create. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time just going on an overview of it so you can kind of understand the potential of it. But there's more resources on that wiki site that you can actually go into the practice of it. But for the conference, I want you to, once you friend it, you can go to the page and then you can start posting on it. No, if you don't friend it, you can't post on it. And I want you to post about your experience, what you've had, how much fun you've had. Or you can say, hey, we're going to this restaurant tonight, anybody can join, or something like that. So this is another way to create a social network. What a lot of schools in my research have done is they've actually created project FENI pages. Not FENI, Facebook pages. They've created pages for their class. And actually I've seen quite a few schools properly implement Facebook as the way that they teach parents. And it's actually proven to be more effective than the old method. So, which is sending an email or even giving a note to the student to take home with them. Anybody still do that?
No.
No. But the thing is because the reason why it works is because people pay attention to this. It's not like your email where it just gets built up with spam. And then next thing you know, you're not going to read it for a couple days because it's built up with spam. People pay attention to Facebook. They want to read the information. They're reading the information about X, Y, Z because it's part of the social network. It's more relevant to their everyday lives. And that's why it works.
We had a text messaging system for snows and delays and stuff. It was very expensive. So we dumped it and we have Twitter. And our students just subscribe to
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah?
And then they know a delay, snow day, and it doesn't cost anything.
That's an excellent use of Twitter.
That's we did with Twitter. And that's about it.
Yeah, and you can actually tie Twitter into Facebook. So it's not utilizing all these tools. So you can actually post something on Facebook, have it set up so that it auto tweets to a Twitter account, and then that Twitter account can be tied to other things. So it's just another avenue of getting the information out. So this is the Facebook page. I don't need to go over it because I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, aside from this instructor over here. And if you need any additional help on setting up a page, definitely ask me. Now, there's two things I want you to keep in mind. Pages cannot be set as private. So that's one thing. Is it's a public arena. So only do stuff in public. Groups, however, you can set up groups which don't have all the functionality as pages. Because pages is more for a broader audience. You can create groups. Groups can be set as private. So when you create a group and you have invite people into it, no one else can read the information if they're not a part of it. So that's the current rule for groups. So you can create a group for a class, and then you can post into it. So there's two different ways. Pages are great for doing larger grouping of organizations, but for individual classes, I would say groups will be good. So I hope that you post here. Let me see if has anybody posted on this yet? No. Okay, anybody next?
You got more likes.
Lots more tweets though.
No, we got tweets here.
A lot of tweets.
Yeah.
So on your Facebook page, it's linked to tweets too?
You can, yes. You can actually have Twitter linked to Facebook and vice versa. So you can tweet something and it'll go into your Facebook wall. So you're not having to double post. And vice versa, where you could post something in Facebook and it'll automatically go into your Twitter account. And you can set up there's tons of parameters, and they're not very difficult to use because there's how-to guides. It's not like it's written for engineers. It is written for the common everyday folk. Not me. Okay, so this is Facebook. This is how you can use it in education. It's a great tool. There are people who have concerns about privacy issues and things like that, but those are the bads. What can you do? I guess you can fight it and not use it, or you could embrace it and reach students in a whole new way.
That's a very good point.
Thank you. Maybe I should quote that.
You should, because that's a very good point.
Okay, I'll remember that. Let me post that up. Hey.
Has anyone been instructed by their college whether or not they should be Facebooking their students? Having their students as friends?
It's blocked from our network.
No, I mean personally.
Yeah, but the kids don't have, oh, I see that.
Yeah, we've been told last during training that we should, they can't come out and say you're not allowed, but you should avoid friending any current students. I thought that was interesting. Anyone else?
Yes, we've been told that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of policies out there that are fighting it. But then there's like the school like Wawatuga, which is that middle school, which is one that I actually let me go to them here.
Just don't post stupid stuff.
Yeah, common sense. There we go.
I know.
Just
all
absorb it, don't worry, just sit and absorb, you don't have to judge it yet, just...
All children do it.
Oh yeah, and here's my profile, so, okay, there's me.
I think that's what our right.
And, okay, there's the nonprofit organizations I'm part of. Things I like, blah, blah, blah. Interest pages. Well, actually, I have that link on the, oh wait, I can just get to it from my wiki site. It's right here. I've already organized that. Facebook, Birdville High School. This is a school in Texas, and their entire district embraced Facebook. So they have Facebook pages for middle school, Facebook pages for high school, for their tech centers, everything. And this is how they,
And
they
it doesn't
express
cost them anything.
And it doesn't cost anything. And of course, they have policies and things to be wary about. And actually, in this resource here, there's actually I have an article in there with a sample policy that schools use for utilizing these social networking sites. Acceptable practices and things like that.
Matt,
Yes.
we use it very successfully at our school for jobs. All the industry uses our Facebook site to advertise jobs for our students.
They do?
Yeah, so that we found that very successful. A lot of our students have picked up jobs through the Facebook site.
That's a very good important point. Yeah, employers are looking at Facebook. So it's important to kind of maintain a really strong digital identity because that's how they look at you now. They look at your Facebook page and they go, "Oh my gosh, this guy has a shark biting his butt. Do we want to hire him?" Then they look at my profile and they go, "Oh, okay."
Real names are good too sometimes.
Yeah, and yeah, you want to use real names as well. So then, so it is a way for employers, and it's very important to teach that to students that, employers look at your Facebook activity, they look at your LinkedIn activity, they look at your net traffic and things like that. So it's because that's all about of you as a whole, because they want that information. So we're going to wrap up here because it's almost time for the. So what we're going to do is to finish off, we're going to skip blogs because blogs are blah blah blah. We're going to I'm going to have you text one more time. Give it a chance here. Realistically, do you plan to incorporate social media elements in your class? Go ahead and submit that. And you have my contact information. I'm up there on the site, so if you want to friend me, I'll friend you back. And and please utilize these tools during the conference. And right now, it looks like somebody's in the lead of tweeting. So we got some really enthusiastic people. We want everybody to participate. All right, so if you can't read this in the back, the first one says it's possible, but only in a limited fashion. I can't wait. I'm ready to get my tweet on. Meh. Tweeting is for the birds. And then, not a chance. I have neither the time or motivation. Yeah, so definitely a lot of people taking the cautious approach, which, you know, it's kind of a loaded question, but we're hoping we get more people here. Get your tweet on, get your tweet on. All right. So with that, I'm going to conclude this. I'd like to thank Jonathan here for giving me some really great factual data that's not ADHD. And you know, grounding this presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that, you know, the media elements, as stupid and silly as they are, kind of gave you a good understanding of what these social networking tools. And please, you know, provide feedback with the evaluation form. We're going to collect all the green sheets and we're going to tally that up, and I'm going to put that on the wiki site so you can kind of get a good gauge as to, you know, how everyone is on average on these different tools. So I'd like to thank Diane for giving me this opportunity to set this up, and I hope that, you know, FENI will become a great social networking force in the future, because it is a great organization, and it doesn't just end here when you leave the conference. You know, you want to take it with you back home in the classroom. So thank you very much.